Welcome back, everyone. We are in the final stretch here. Hopefully, all of you have thought about which photo you want to use for your self-portrait. Know I gave all of you some feedback. If you still have questions after you watch the videos today, come back into the Google Meet and let's maybe talk about what would be the best option for you. Otherwise, choose your photo. Make sure that it's on your desktop, so that might mean airdropping it, or it might just mean dragging the file onto your desktop. And then we want to make a couple adjustments. So I'm going to drag my photo into the Photos application here. Oops, I already did it. And I want to click the photo and I want to go to Edit. The first thing that I want to do is hit Filters and choose Mono to turn it into black and white. It's going to be a lot easier to draw using graphite pencil if it's in black and white, because then those values will match. If you're drawing in black and white from a colored photo, it just sometimes makes it a little more difficult to be able to tell what the true value is. So go ahead and change it into black and white. If you're really feeling like, I want to spice it up, you can choose noir or tonal too, but mono is Old Faithful here. The other thing that we want to do is crop it. So you're going to be using a standard printer paper size, and even though the dimensions that they have here, the options are not exactly like that, the closest one is going to be 8 by 10. So click 8 by 10, and it doesn't matter to me if you're doing your portrait vertically or horizontally, or vertically or landscape, I should say, as long as it is an 8 by 10 aspect. So I'm going to click Done, and now this is what we're going to work with. Once I've made those changes to my photo, cropped it, and turned it into black and white, I want to have it saved on my desktop once more, and this time I'm just going to double click to open into Preview. Now, the way that we started our practice portraits was we mapped out the face using horizontal and verticals, marking out the general shape of the face and where all the proportions are. So where are the eyes, where's the nose, where's the mouth, and we're going to do the same thing on your face. So you can do this one of two ways. If you have a printer, you're welcome to print out your image. It doesn't matter what size you print it out, and you can actually draw physically on your photo. I don't have a printer here at home, so I'm going to do it using Preview. So if you don't have a printer, you can do it this way too. Either way, the steps are the same. You're going to be drawing these shapes onto your face. So I'm going to click this little toolbox here, and I'm going to be using these tools up here. So the first thing that I want to do is mark the general shape of my face. So using a circle shape, I'm going to mark more or less the shape of my face here. Okay. Then I'm going to find the vertical axis. Now, since my face is slightly shifted over, it's a 3/4 view, it's not going to be super centered. It's going to be a little bit off to the right, and that's okay. So I'm going to use this icon here, and I'm going to draw a line down. This app will autocorrect for you, which is very nice. And then I'm going to go ahead and draw in the horizontal axis for my eyes. Notice that, I'm going to have it going through the corners of my eyes. So I don't want it to be up here. I don't want it to be down here. I want it to be going through the corners of my eyes. Then I'm going to put in a line for my nose. I'm going to put in a line for the crease of my mouth. And I'm going to mark in my bottom lip. And I could also mark in my upper lip if I wanted to, or if you want to. It's not super necessary. Ooh, I can even make it like that. That's fun. Okay, if your ear is in the photo, you can also mark where the top and bottom of your ear are as well. And this is interesting to see. I can see that it's higher than my nose line a bit. Now I want to do the vertical axis. So I think I'll go ahead and use a slightly different color. And I'm going to start with my eyes. So Normally my nose would fall right in between my eyes and this would meet here, but again, since my head is shifted, there's a little bit of space. So I've got that in. I'm gonna mark the other one and we can see that since my face is tilted, it's cutting off a little bit of my nose. Then I'm gonna do the same thing for my mouth. And we can also do the same thing for the outside of the eyes as well. You could really break down any shape as much as you want to, but at a minimum, this is what you want to have. You want to have the widths of the nose, the eyes, and the mouth. So let's go ahead and do nose here, nose is there. If you want, you can also get the neck in on either side. Okay. So this gives me a nice place to start. Next, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to draw it. I'm going to draw this onto my paper very, very lightly, and I'll go over that in a moment. So it's time to get started just mapping out our face on the final paper. The first thing you want to do is get a piece of printer paper if you haven't already, 8.5 by 11, standard size. We're not using fancy paper here, and that's going to be all right. And then make sure you have some sort of pencil. I have the drawing pencil, so I'm using a 2B, but if you don't have the drawing pencils, that's all right. Just use whatever it is that you have. I also have my photo here pulled up next to me. Again, if you have your printed photo, make sure you have that out next to you as well. So essentially what we're going to do is transfer the image that we mapped into a drawing on our paper. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is start with the entire shape of the head. So I'm going to mark for myself what I want to be the top of my paper and about what I want to be the bottom of my paper. So you don't want your face to be this little over here. You don't want it to be over here. You want to try, sorry, I was painting, my hands are dirty. You want to try to get the size of the face correct on the first try. So I'm going to start drawing. I'm going to press a little harder than you are so that you can see it. Draw really lightly. I'm going to start drawing in that oval shape to the best of my ability. It's okay if it's not totally exact. Just do your best. Okay, maybe something like that. Then I'm going to go ahead and mark in that vertical axis. So I'm going to notice that it's over here to the right. So really notice where yours is. Is it in the center? Is it to the left? Is it to the right? So mine is over this way. Now I'll mark the bottom and I'll mark the top. Now I want to mark in that eye line. So I know from our proportions that the eyes are halfway down the face. But if I'm looking at my face and I kind of take a measurement with my pencil, I see that that is true, that it is halfway down from the bottom of my chin to the top of my head. So I might first guess, like, maybe that's halfway, but then I'm going to take my pencil and carry this measurement up here, and then I'll notice, I'm a little short. That means I'm going to have to raise it. Try it again here. Transferring that measurement up. Bingo! So I'll know that this is going to be my eye line. I'm going to repeat this process for my nose line and for the crease of my mouth. So if I know that the nose is halfway from the eyes to the bottom of the chin, I'm going to look at my photo, taking my pencil to my photo, and asking myself, is that true? Dun, 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 and it is. So I'm marking about halfway, taking my pencil to check. Okay, so something like that. And I know that this is going to be to the bottom of the nose. Okay. Then I'm going to do the same for the mouth. to the vertical measurements. So first I want to establish how many eyes are across the width of my face. And because my face is tilted, it's going to be a little bit different. It's not just going to be 5 eyes evenly going across. So what I'm going to do first is draw in, zoom in here, is I'm going to focus just on this eye first, sort of looking how far it is away from the vertical axis and marking it in. I'm going to measure with my pencil and I'm going to ask myself, is this the same size as this? And if I measure with my pencil, I can see that it is. So that means that if I've marked this as my eye, there has to be one eye width on the other side, which there is. Then I'm going to take that same measurement and I'm going to carry it over to the other side to see what I find. And it looks like there is one eye width in between both of my eyes, even though my head is tilted. So there. And then I'm going to measure my eye, the left eye, once again. And I'm going to compare it to the right eye, and I can see that it's smaller. So that means when I come to do this eye, if this is the equal width, it needs to be smaller. This is going to look different for each and every one of you. The idea, though, is that you want to use one eye as your anchor. Use that as a way to measure the other eye, the space in between the eye, and the space outside of the eyes. So my goal right now is not to draw in any of the features. It's just to mark in all of these vertical lines and horizontal lines. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up on my face, and I'm going to speed it up so that you don't fall asleep. But this is what you're going to do for your own drawing. Really use your pencil to figure out where things are lining up. And like I always say, if something looks wrong, fix it, because it probably is. Another tip that might help you is turning your image upside down and turning your paper upside down. This really, really helps me. That's probably how I'm actually going to finish my drawing. I know it seems like a ridiculous trick, but it's super helpful. So you're going to go ahead, and I'll meet you back in a second. This is all we're going to do today. So just focus on getting those proportions as accurate as possible. Remember, don't draw your features in yet. Just try to get that grid to reflect what you see in your photo.